Okay. Good evening, everyone. So we will continue with the project. We will continue by registering our user to our website. So what we are going to do is, yesterday, if you remember, we have completed the setup for the project. Not only that, the front end also little bit we have worked on, especially the index page, where we were also providing the user the option to log in. And the sign up page also we have already created. We created entity class also. And based on that entity class for user, we have created controller services as well as repository, right? One, I believe we also had a navigation controller to control the links to navigate to the different points. Today, we will start by working on registration. Registration is simple create operation, right? Whatever data we are taking from the front end, accept that data into the controller and send it to the database. But one extra thing we will do, and what is that? Before adding a user to the database, we will check whether user with that email or whether user with that username already exists in the database or not. Only if that user is not in the database, then only we will go ahead and add them as a new user. If that user already exists, we will not add the user again. That means duplicate email ID or duplicate username, we are not going to allow. Okay, anyone you can choose either username or email. So let's go directly to the screen. There itself, I will show you how we can proceed. Yeah. See, the thing is, why I am telling both of them will be good because if let's suppose we are coding for the forget password functionality as well, what is going to happen? One email will be sent to the user's email, right, to reset the password and all. So those things also, if we have to make sure, we will ensure that the email ID is also unique. That also you can add. Just give me a minute. I'll open the project. Codebook is what we called it. Let's have a glimpse how the project was looking like at the moment. Okay, so this is how it was looking like at the moment. The home page or the index page was this, whether the where the user can also try to log in. But if they are new user, they can click on create new account, and from here they will be able to create their account. So what we are going to make sure is the username and email should be unique. Any one of them should not be repeated for any user. Okay. So how are we going to do that? Let's see. So first of all, what we are having is, let's suppose this is our registration form. This is the registration form what we are having. Okay. Here we are getting plenty of data from the user. username, email, password, all those things we are getting. And then the user is telling that, okay, I want to do what? I want to sign up. The sign up button is there. So the moment user is going to click on sign up button, what we will need to do? All this information we will need to select or collect somewhere. Where are we going to collect all this information? In our controller, we are going to connect or collect, right? Once we have collected all this information in the controller, what we are going to do? Probably we are going to take the help of service. Right, service we will take the help of. Service is further going to take the help of the repository. Okay. And finally, what is going to happen? The data, whatever we have entered, that is going to be stored into the database. This is what is basically going to happen. So let's talk about in the controller what all things we are going to do and what all services are also going to be required. If we are going to talk about the controller perhaps, so this is what controller, this is the services. Here we are having the controllers. Just a second. Maybe this is nothing but our controllers. What all controller is going to do? Its controller's job is only to do what? Accept the data and maybe send back the response. That is only responsibility of the controller. So here also we are going to do the same thing. Probably in the user controller, we are going to be having something, a method where we can accept the object. User object we are going to accept. Maybe add user or something like that can be the name of the method. It is going to accept what? One user type object it is going to accept. Okay, one user type object will be accepted over here. From this, what we have to do is we have to first make sure of what? Whether this user already exists or not. That means user with this email or the username already exists or not. So what we will do? Two things we have to do. First, already exist we have to check. Okay. If does not exist, then what we have to do? Then we have to, add the user. Add user. After adding the user, we will redirect the control to the necessary place. Okay. So this is what we have to do. So what all services we are going to need as of now? Two types of services we are going to need. First one is going to do what? Check whether the user exists in the database or not. Second one is going to do what? Add the user into the database. Obviously, if it does not exist in the database. So let's talk about our service also. What all service we can create? Maybe we can create a service which is having what? Maybe which is checking user exist or not. Okay. Whether the user exists or not, this is what we have to check. Now here, either we can have two different services. One is going to check using the email. One is going to check whether that username exists or not. Or we can simply have one method inside this only both we can check. So maybe I will do that only. I will accept the username also. And I will accept the email also. So this service basically is going to be responsible to check whether any user with the particular username or email already exists in the database or not. This is the job of whom? This is the job of user exist. What should be the return type of the method? Boolean will be suitable. If the user exists, return true. If the user doesn't exist, return false. Another is the add user method. The name can be same. We add user. What it is going to get? One user type object it is going to receive like this. So this is what we have to code for initially. One controller we are going to create where we are going to accept everything. Basically the data sent from the front end we are going to accept. We are going to validate whether that user already exists or not. If the user exists, we'll say, okay, go to the login page, try to log in, you already exist. But if the user is not existing, what we are going to do? Add the user to the database. This is the task what we have in hand. I'll do the basic setup for you. Then you try. So I will go to my controller, user controller. Here what I need to do, I will need to accept the data. Maybe I'll say public string add user. It is going to accept what? One user type object it is going to accept. And again, import user very carefully. From where you are going to import? From your project's entity package, nowhere else. So once we have got the user, some sort of mapping we will have to do. Since data is getting transferred, post mapping will be nice. Any mapping have we used over there? Now I'll check in my HTML page, sign up. Method is post. What is the mapping we are using? Sign up. Same mapping there also I'll use. Okay. So for adding user, again, two steps. First, user exists, we have to check. Okay. Just concentrate for 5 minutes, then I will give you time to code. So how are we going to check whether user exists or not? Using some service. Which service? User exists. So maybe I'll say service dot user exists. Two things we have to pass. We have to pass the username. Maybe I'll pass the username. And also I'm going to pass the email. Okay, both the things we are going to pass. This is going to return some boolean type value, maybe boolean status I will say. Okay, so if the value of status is what? False, then only what we are going to do? Add the new user. Maybe I'll say if status may be equal to false. That means if the user does not exist, what we are going to do? Another service we are going to call. Maybe service dot add user. And we are going to pass the user object as well. This is what we are going to do. And at the last, even if you are registering for the first time, they will redirect you to the login page so that you can log in. And obviously, if the user already exists, then also we should redirect to login. So maybe I'll say return. Our login page is same as the index. Another way is there, better way to redirect the control to the index page. As of now, let's stick to this. Yeah. So one more thing we have to do, we have to extract the username and email from the object. How do we do that? Maybe I'll say string username is equal to whatever object we have got. Directly can I access the username? No, because if you remember, we used private, right? How can we access private members? Getters and setters. So maybe I'm going to get what? Get the username. Similarly, we are going to get the email as well. String email is equal to get email, right? So this is pretty much going to be our code for what? Our code for controller. Now what we have to code for? Now we have to code the two services, user exists and add user. Okay. So first complete your controller and try to do the same thing for your services as well. You try for 10-15 minutes, then I will also tell. The reason is, Sumit, because when we are coding in the standard projects, especially in Spring Boot, the flow is like that. That from the front end, control will be going to the controller only. Directly, it will not be going to the service. And we have learned, right, about Spring that we should not create the object, rather it should be automated. So that's why we tell Spring, you go ahead and initialize my object. Anyone completed? Okay. So let's try this. Firstly, add user we will try. It's pretty much straightforward. So we'll create this in the user service. Okay. At least the method signature of this also will create. Okay. Now one by one we will try to implement it in the service implementation. No need of override. For adding the user, what we need to do? Simply use the repository and use a save method. That's it, just one line of code. The next thing is user exists. How we are going to check? So first we will need to find the user using the email what we are receiving. Then we are also going to find the user using the what else username we are receiving. So two things we need. We need to find the user using the username also, using the email also. So in the repository, do we have any such method to find the user using email or find the user using what? Using the username? No method as such we have. But what method we are having? We are having find by ID, right? But for the others, what we will have to do? Override those methods, right? So we will have to create those methods on our own. First, let's get this code ready, the logic part ready. Then we will see what to do in the repository. So let's suppose we have a method which finds by email. Maybe I'll say repo dot find by. Instead of find by ID, what are we going to get? Maybe find by email. We are going to pass the email. This is going to give me a user type object. Maybe U1 I'll call it. Okay. Similarly, I will try to get the user using what? Using the email as well. Maybe I'll call it user2. This one is find by email. This one is find by username. Okay. Now it is going to return us an object. How it will return, we'll see later. But what is the responsibility of this particular method, find by username? It will go to the database and check whether some user with that username exists or not, whether the user with that email exists or not. If they exist, they will return what? One object of the user they will return, else its value will be what? Null. Okay. So all we need to do is check if user1 is what? Not equal to null, and user2 not equal to null. In this case, what we should return when the users are not null means, or should we use and or? Think on that. Think carefully. Even we don't want to allow duplicate username also. We don't want to allow duplicate email also. So if any of them is duplicate, we will say, okay, not allowed. Okay. So better we will use or. Either in the first one we are getting an object, or in the second one we are getting an object, we will cancel. That means we are going to say that, okay, user exists, and we are going to return. If the user exists, we will return true. Overall false we have to return. So this is pretty much going to be the code for user exist. We are getting the user with the help of username also, with the help of email also we are trying to get the user. These methods, username will be storing the address of the object if it exists. User 2 will be storing the address of the object if that email exists in the database. Okay. So if they are not storing anything means they are going to have null. If they are having null means the objects don't exist in the database. So that's why we are checking if username is not equal to null. Okay. Or user to not equal to null. That means basically in reverse order, if you try to analyze, if any one of them is also having an object, what we are going to do? We are going to return true that this user already exists. In all other cases, we are going to return false. And the last task is these two methods we will have to create in the repository. Find by username and find by email. Like this. That's it. If we have to find the user by ID, no need to write. Yeah, just a sec. Yeah. So as I was telling, if we were trying to find the user using the ID, no need to write it over here. But apart from the primary key, if we are trying to search the user with any other column, then we will have to explicitly mention the signature of the method. This method is going to do what? It will try to search for the user using email. I have written this. Maybe here I'll change username. There also I'll change. Okay. So this method is going to search for a user using what? Username. If the object is found, it is going to return the user object. Same goes for this method also. It will try to search using the email. If we talk about the implementation, here also what I will do, I'm going to pass the username. Okay. That's it. Let's try to see whether this is working or not. First, let me try. Then you try as well. Okay. What is the name of my database? Codebook. Maybe select star from user. As of now, it is an empty set. Table it would have already created because we have used at the rate entity. Anyways, let's try to register a few users. Field ID does not have a default. Date of birth, email, username, some issues I am facing. Let me check. I'll try to see if any place I am getting. Line number 16, user controller 21. Okay. So what we are not doing over here, are we missing something in this line? Since we are accepting all the data from the front end, what we should use here? Model attribute. Once again, I'll try. Field ID. I'll just refresh once and try. Okay, so some issue is there. I will just have a check. Again, how to trace back the errors, that is also important. So let's check what all issues we are facing. First thing I will do is I will match my name attribute. So we are having what? Username, email, password, DOB, and gender. I'll check for the same in my entity as well. Username, email, password, DOB, and gender. Here also same thing, username, email, password, DOB, and gender. I will again check this carefully. We have got entity ID. I'll check for the constructor. This is also there. Getter as well as setter. Okay, everything seems to be fine over here. I'll just trace this. I hope this table was not already created. I'll just check it. This seems to be good. I'll once start from the scratch. Meanwhile, you please code for this. Take a photo. I will be changing the pages to check. Meanwhile, you can complete this. Update is also fine. Okay, probably. Thanks, I'll check. Yeah, Abhishek, I got you. That can also be used, but that is not the issue here. Abhilash. Okay. So no problem with the code. What happened was when we ran this program, this project for the very first time, database was created without the auto-generated key. Right now, I changed the database. Now it's working fine. So code-wise, everything is fine. Let's test whether we are allowed to enter duplicate email or not. I will once again try to register using the same username. First of all, let me try the same username, that is Deep, but a different email I will try. Username is same. Let's see if we are able to create. Okay. We are not able to add the new user. When what? When the username was duplicate. Same I will try for duplicate email as well. Okay, so even with duplicate email, we are not able to add. So please try this out. Yes, Sirisha, we can use request parameter, but that is for single data. No problem, Abhishek. At the end of the session, you share your screen. I will help you resolve that. Probably you are not running the project, Mahalakshmi. Run the project and then check. Check the port number as well. For how many this is working? Okay. 2 more minutes I'll wait, then we'll move on to login. All the running work will happen on the server. And this is the user controller for you. What is the error you are having, Pranav? Help me with the error as well. What is the issue you are facing, Ahmed Raja? Okay, look here. Let's also try to code for the login functionality as well. So now what is going to happen? Just a second. Yeah. So now what is going to happen? The user is going to type the username and the password, and they are going to click on what? Click on login. Once they click on login, once again, control will be going to our controller, probably to a method called as login. Along with the control, we will also receive the username as well as the password. Now, using one of our services, what are we going to do? We are going to validate the user. If the username, password, if the credentials are valid, the service is going to probably return true, else it is going to return false. So if the user is validated, maybe we are going to redirect them to the home page. If the user is not a valid user, maybe we can redirect them back to the login page. So this is the logic what we are going to follow. Okay. Or the home page if the user is a valid user. Okay. Majorly this is the logic. Let's try to convert the same thing into code. Sign up is done. So now first of all, let's see what we have given. So here we are using slash login. Same thing we will have to use there as well. Again, some confidential information we are passing. So better use post mapping only. Okay. Now what we are going to do is maybe public string login. Okay. Two things we need. We need the username. So string username as well as the password. Well, say string password. How are we going to accept these two data over here? Which annotation should we use? Here we can use request parameter because single data we are taking. Right. So all this we have accepted. Now what we are going to do? We are going to call a service called as validate user. We are going to pass the details like username as well as the password. Okay. Whatever is the status, I'll store it in a Boolean type variable. Maybe Boolean status, I'll call it. If the user does exist, it will return true. If the user credentials are invalid, it will return false. So if perhaps status is equal to true, even if we don't write equal to true, it will mean the same thing. Sorry. So in such a case, we will redirect the control to the home page. As of now, I don't have, but I'll create. But in other case, maybe as of now, we are going to simply redirect to or return to the index page itself. When we are doing this, what we can also do is provide proper messages. If the user is registered, we can give a message that, okay, registration successful. If the user already exists, such message also should be properly provided. Anyways, So as of now, simply what I will do is one sample homepage I'll create. HTML. Maybe I will call this as home.html. Very simple message. Maybe home. That's it for this page. Just a simple message I'll provide. Next, what are we going to do is we need to validate the user. So let's go ahead and validate it as well. In the service, we will add this method. Hence, we'll have to implement it as well. We have already created a method which can find us the user with the help of username. So we will use that. Maybe I will say find by what? Find by username. I will pass the username. It will return me an object. For that, what we want is basically get the password. Again, you can do it in two different lines also, same line also. Maybe I will save this as string. Maybe this is DB password. Password saved in the database. Now all we need to do is do string matching. If password, how do we match the strings? Double equal to? No, right? Dot equals method we will use. Pass the database password. If both are matching, maybe we will return true. In our other cases, we are going to return false. Okay. So what we are doing, we are using the username. We are fetching the object, user object from the database. Then for the user object, we are getting the password. Then that password, we are matching it with the password which was entered on the web page. If both are matching, we are returning true, else we are returning false. Let's once try whether this works or not. I will try. What password have I given? 123. First, I'll try with the correct password. Okay, I stopped the application. It's fine. I'll go back. Okay, for the correct password, I am being redirected to the home page. If I try some wrong password, okay, I'm being redirected to the login page itself. Okay. So this is pretty much the logic. Try this out. Okay. So now two things I need you to tell me. Okay. The outline has been created, login, registration, working fine, no problem. But if you see this table in the database, what is happening? Password is also very clearly visible to me, right? Password is also very clearly visible. So how does it work in the actual applications? Will they be able to see your password? No, right? They should not be able to see your password. Even the admin should not be able to see the password. So passwords are not going to be stored directly in the string format, but we will be converting the passwords into something called as the hashed values. Hash code is going to be there. Hashing you have learned in collections, I believe, right? So same hashing, we will have to hash whatever password we are going to receive. It is first hashed, and that hash code is stored in the database. So first thing is this, right? What we have to do? We have to see how we can store the password in the database. Hint is what? Hash code values we have to search about. Second thing is, let's suppose we were talking about this option also, right? Forgot password. Now, generally, if you will forget password, what will happen? OTP is going to come to your phone or maybe to your email. All tongue twister. Or what can also happen is on your email also one reset mail is going to go. So now next thing what we have to try and do is we have to see how we can send one OTP on the mail, or at least how we can send a mail to the user. Whatever is the registered mail, let's suppose this one, what we have to try and do, one reset password email we have to send on this particular mail. There is something called as SMTP, I think, send mail transfer protocol, something like that. Research a little bit about that, okay, and then come to tomorrow's class. Two things: one is how to store password hashed values, second is how you can send email from your Java program. These two things search and come. Also, along with this, you can work on the CSS part of your front end, at least the pages what we have coded so far. I will also do the basics in the class, but you can also try. Now, many of you are having doubts, so I will be solving the doubts. Please complete till here. If you have doubts, please stay back. If you are done till this much, then you can leave. If you have doubts, please stay back. Thank you. Yeah, please tell me your doubts. Okay. Yeah. Recording is posted in your groups. Check your Telegram groups where you have received the recording for this. Sorry, where you have received the joining link for this class. There only you can find that. Every code will be running on the server side, Lakshmi. Okay, show man that already exists. Abdul, I didn't get it out. You can mark it, Abdul. Okay, how to make show that user already exists. For that, a bit of JavaScript also will be required, Abdul. Along with that, if you remember, we use something called it a model, right? Model dot add attribute, things like that. Okay. Abdul, which batch you are from? Can you send me your full code, Pranav, of that file? It is opening Srinivas. Here only in the chat you can check. Yeah, Abhishek, you can share your screen. Abhishek Roshan, you can please share your screen. What problem, Abhishek? Also, which batch you are from, Abhishek? Yeah, Abhishek, you can please share your screen. Pranav, have you created these services in the service? You did not create the project that time, Abhijit? Yeah, Abhishek, show me where is the issue. Just click on form.xml. No, not there. Right side. Not there, not there. Yeah. Just above console. It is written, right? Just above console. Yes, above that. Yeah, click on that. Yes. Okay. Scroll down, please. Okay, keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. Okay. So once you repeat the same process, what I told you, please. Now only you repeat. Now please do it, Abhishek. Yeah, it's fine. See these, what you have checked. Just, yeah, uncheck that. Click on apply. One more, one more. Yes. Please wait. Wait, Pranav. After him, you share the screen. After updating index on the right side, that green color is there, right? Just click on that. Uh, just wait for it to finish, Abhishek. Always running. There might be your internet issues as well. Once this is complete, only then it is going to work. Wait for it to complete. Okay, you waited 1 hour also. No, that much we should not wait. Okay. Abhishek, please download STS, Spring Tool Suite, and use that. You can stop the share. Please download STS, Spring Tool Suite. What error? No, not this one. That is going to be separately available on Google. Spring Tool Suite. Okay. I'll just show you how it look like from where you can download. Just give me a minute. I'll show you. Embed Spring Tool Suite download. Will come here. This one you download. Okay. Depending upon your system, you download. It will be same as Eclipse only. Yeah, Pranav, now you can share your screen. Yeah. Go to your controller. Okay. Can you take the cursor over there? Okay. User dot. Let email is undefined for the type user. Go to the user class, please. Yes. Scroll down. Get email is there. Again, go back to the user's controller. I think you are importing from the wrong package. Go to the user's controller. Yeah. Wait. See at the top, line number 3. I have told to import it from your entity package, but you are importing from some other package. Yes. Okay. Fine. Thanks everyone. Let's meet tomorrow.